Hey, where are you right now?
I'm at work, at the office.
My husband calmly stated this without changing his tone of voice. He's lying. You're right in front of me. To betray me so easily? Well, I have my plans too. By any means necessary, I'll send you straight to hell. My name is Karen, 33 years old. After graduating from college, I got a job at a multinational corporation. A dream come true. Although the pay is decent, the work is tough, and international business trips are commonplace. At this rate, my job might become my lifelong partner. When I turned 29, I started feeling anxious and attended a mixer at an invitation of a friend. That's where I met my husband, Mike. Mike is the same age as me and works a regular 9-to-5 job. Unlike me, he doesn't travel for work and doesn't relocate. Because of that, inevitably, I end up earning more than him. After dating for a year, when the prospect of marriage started becoming more realistic, he said with a look of apprehension,
Can I really make you happy as things stand right now?
Why would you think that?
Because I earn less, right? It's kind of,
I don't mind it at all. I'm with you because I love you, Mike.
I feel the same way, but are you really okay with me?
With a look of uncertainty on his face, Mike looked at me. Even his doubtful expression seemed endearing to me. I looked directly into his eyes and expressed my true feelings. I want you, Mike. It's you I love, not anyone else.
Karen, thank you. I want to be with you too.
A month later, he officially proposed to me. That fall, we had a beautiful chapel wedding and were blessed by many friends and family. Despite my hectic work schedule, I felt incredibly happy enough to forget all the hardship. Almost 2 years have passed since then. Without any issues, we have been leading a peaceful married life. Considering our age, it's about time we start thinking about having children. That's what I was starting to think one day. When I got home from work, Mike, who should have been home before me, was nowhere to be found. Mike? I peeked into the other rooms, but he was not there. When I checked the front door, I noticed his shoes were missing. I checked my phone, but there were no messages or missed calls. What could have happened? He always comes home before me. If something had happened, he would have messaged me, right? Did something happen to Mike? With a sinking feeling, I quickly dialed his number. Hoping for the best, I held the phone to my ear, and on the third ring, I heard his carefree voice say,
Hello?
Mike? Are you okay?
Okay. What happened?
Well, I just got home from work, and you weren't here. There were no messages, so I was worried. Are you okay?
Sorry, I have to work overtime today.
Overtime? You've never done that before, have you? When I asked curiously, Mike mumbled,
Well.
After a brief silence, he answered in a rush.
The truth is, I've been given a big project. Apparently, if the results are good, I might even get promoted. That's why I need to work overtime, even if it's hard.
Promotion? That's great.
Yeah, so I think I'll be working overtime more often from now. But don't worry about me. See ya.
Wait a minute, Mike. But he hung up the phone without responding. Despite his unilateral attitude, I felt happier than anything. So Mike finally has a chance for a promotion. He was always concerned about the difference in our incomes. I hope this gives him some confidence. Of course, I have no complaints about his current salary. At least as long as we both keep working, we won't face any hardships. However, if his income increases, it would bring even more comfort to our lives, especially considering the possibility of children in the future. A promotion for him would be more than welcome. Since that day, he stopped coming home at the usual time. Even his days off became work days, and our time together decreased. When I come home from work, Mike is not there. Even on the rare days off, he's not home. This was lonelier than I had imagined. However, his future promotion is on the line. I wish he would come home early once in a while. I want to spend the day off together, just relaxing. If I prioritize these feelings of mine, it would be a nuisance to him. Considering this, I could not possibly confront him. So I decided to immerse myself more in my work to drown out the loneliness. I also have an overseas business trip planned soon, so I'll work just as hard as he does. After all, even if I go home early, he won't be there. Thinking this, my overtime increased as well. But as the time spent with him decreased, my heart reached its limit. I don't think I can bear it anymore. Knowing that it might be a burden for him, I decided to express my feelings. "Welcome home, Mike. I have something I want to talk about." I said this to my husband when he returned from work that night.
Talk about? Does it have to be today? I'm pretty tired.
Huh? I was taken aback, unable to find words. However, there's no point in giving up here. I continued the conversation without losing heart. "I'm sorry, but it's something I really want to discuss."
Ha! If you have something to say it quickly. I need to sleep early for tomorrow's work.
Tomorrow is Saturday. Are you going in on your day off again? Sometimes you should relax at home.
Enough already. You're nagging. I'm busy, don't you get it? Is it fun for you to bother me?
That's not what I meant.
Please stop bothering me. Don't you realize how crucial this period is for me?
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. His face turned angry, something I had never seen before, which startled me.
I'm tired. I'm going to bed,
he said, and left the room. Left alone, I began to shake uncontrollably out of fear. What on earth just happened? I've never seen Mike like that before. I understand he's busy, but there's no need to speak like that. Though my dissatisfaction was growing internally, I couldn't voice it. We should have been able to resolve this through a proper discussion, as we always have. But I was too afraid to express my true feelings to him at that moment. As the days for my overseas business trip were approaching, I had been working late. On this particular day, I ended up leaving work particularly late and hurried to the train station. Unfortunately, the train was delayed. The chances are slim, but Mike might have gotten home before me. Thinking so, I decided to hail a taxi. "Excuse me, could you take me to this address, please?" I gave the driver the address of my apartment, and the car started moving. During the ride home, I didn't have the energy to look at my phone, so I blankly gazed out at the scenery. Stop! Stop the car, please!" Before I knew it, I found myself shouting at the driver. I opened my eyes wide and reconfirmed the scene outside the car window. That's when I saw it. Across the pedestrian walkway, Mike was walking with a woman I didn't recognize. You've got to be kidding me. Mike, why? Weren't you supposed to be busy with work? Why are you here with another woman? Questions about my husband started to flood my mind. I wanted to believe it was a mistake, but the clothes, the height, everything matched Mike. They were blatantly exchanging a kiss on the pedestrian path. Next thing I knew, I had my phone out and was filming them as evidence of his infidelity. They continued walking arm in arm. As I was capturing the entire scene, the driver asked, "Ma'am?" His voice snapped me back to reality, and I quickly stopped recording. When I arrived home, sure enough, Mike wasn't there yet. I called him, wanting to get the truth. Only the ringing sound of the call echoed emptily from my smartphone. After a few attempts, he finally answered.
"Don't keep calling me over and over. You should know I can't answer if I'm not picking up, right?"
"I'm sorry, but there's something I want to ask you."
"I'm working overtime. I'm sorry, but could we talk later?"
"Overtime? You don't mean cheating, do you?"
"What?"
There was a pause. Then I heard his voice filled with anger. After a while, he let out a disgruntled sigh.
"Enough of this. How can you say such a thing to your husband who's tired from work? Forget it. I'm not coming home tonight."
Then he hung up abruptly. Judging by his reaction, it seemed like his affair was confirmed. A strange emotion, neither anger nor sadness, welled up within me. So he was really cheating on me. We have to talk about this. Things can't continue as they are. True to his word, Mike didn't come home that night. From the following day, he'd come home, but there would be no conversation, let alone discussion. In the end, the day of my business trip arrived first. This time, it's a 2-week trip overseas. On the morning of my departure, as I was wondering how to address Mike, he started talking to me first.
Karen, you're leaving for a business trip today, right? Be careful, okay?
Huh? Oh, yes, thank you.
But 2 weeks is such a long time. You often go on these trips, but I still can't get used to it. And it feels lonely.
Lonely? Do you really feel that way?
Of course. We've been awkward around each other recently, right? I want to clear up our misunderstandings. So let's have a nice dinner when you get back.
There's no way things can work out so conveniently. He's just trying to cover up the fact that he's been cheating, spouting nonsense. Anyone with a bit of thought should be able to see through it. But for some reason, I chose to believe his words at the time. I had thought that my love for him had completely cooled off after our strained relationship recently, but it seems I can't truly hate him from the bottom of my heart. Did I mistake what I saw the other day? His smile, which I hadn't seen in a long time, was so endearing that it made me have such an illusion. I simply told him, "Let's have a proper talk when I get back," and left the house. After that, my business finished earlier than expected, so I was able to return home earlier. Since it was a sudden decision, I hopped on a plane back to New York without telling my husband Mike. Initially, I planned to contact him, but then I thought, why not surprise him by returning early, cook dinner, and wait for him? That was the plan. I arrived in New York around 11 a.m. I went straight home, arriving around 1 p.m. It was about a week since I had last returned home. At the moment I opened the door with a sense of relief, my spine froze. What? What was that? What caught my eye was a pair of light pink pumps placed at the entrance. As I stood frozen, I heard Mike's voice and a woman's voice from the living room. I tiptoed down the hallway, peeking into the living room from behind a corner. They were drinking in their underwear. The woman was the one I had seen that day. With a sweet voice, the woman started to speak. "Hey, Mike, are you really okay with inviting me over? Isn't it dangerous if your wife finds out?"
Nah, it's fine. She's on a business trip abroad until the day after tomorrow.
Oh, really? That's perfect timing. It's my birthday, and your wife isn't at home.
Exactly. Thanks to that, I can spend time leisurely at home with you, Linda. You're staying over tonight, right?
Oh, my. I love you, Mike. Thank you for the present. Mike's mistress, it seems, is named Linda. The two of them were hugging each other in their drunken state. This has to be a joke. Just because I earn more, why can he do such a thing in the apartment that I rented under my name? While fighting nausea, I recorded the cheating scene with my smartphone. When things settled down, I tiptoed back to the entrance and left the apartment. Sweat poured out, and my heartbeat pounded. Despite the situation, I was still believing in him somewhere. Sweat poured out, and my heartbeat pounded. Despite the situation, I was still believing in him somewhere. I wanted it to be a lie, yet the scene earlier wouldn't leave my mind. I can't continue as his wife anymore. Finally, I decided to resort to my last option. I dialed Mike's number and waited for him to answer. Answering my call with a casual hello, I made sure to speak with an air of urgency. "Hey, where are you right now?"
Huh? I'm at work, of course. What time do you think it is?
"Yeah, I guess so. I'm sorry, but it seems like someone's home right now." Not quite grasping the situation, my husband's voice wavered as he stammered.
What?
Speaking to him, who was likely unaware of the reality, I wove in a bit of deception. "So here's the thing. My trip got finished early, and I came back home, and when I got to the front door, I could hear someone talking inside."
You mean to tell me you're standing outside our apartment right now?
He questioned. "Yes, that's right, Mike. What should I do? Should I go inside to check?" I thought I'd lay a trap for him, seeing if he was in the middle of cheating at home. Depending on his response, I hoped we could have a proper discussion and resolve things amicably. However, my expectations were dashed to the ground. In a loud voice, my husband blurted out,
Could it be a burglar? Get out of there now. Leave that place immediately.
In that moment, any lingering feelings I had for him vanished. So this is how easily you betray me. Rather than admitting or apologizing for the affair, he chose to continue hiding it in such a pathetic way.
For now, just get to somewhere safe,
he insisted before abruptly hanging up. Moments later, I called the police. Hello? Is this the police? I think there's a burglar in my house. I can hear unfamiliar voices. Yes, thank you. As I ended the call and stood waiting, 2 police officers arrived a few minutes later. I repeated the circumstances to them, and we proceeded to my apartment together. When one of the officers rang the doorbell, my husband emerged from the entrance with his eyes wide open.
Well, why are the police here? Are you the resident of this house?
Asked one of the officers.
Yes, I am. We received a report from your wife that there might be a burglar here. A burglar? No, there's no one here.
As he said this, I stepped out from behind the door. Upon seeing me, my husband muttered,
Why are you here?
His eyes darting around nervously. I apologized to the officers, saying it must have been a mistake, and sent them on their way. Glancing around inside, I saw no sign of his mistress. I guess he must have rushed her out when I called earlier. Did he still believe I was unaware of the affair? He brazenly accused me.
Why did you call the police? That's so bothersome.
Well, it was you, Mike, who said there was a burglar. Besides, weren't you supposed to be at work? Why are you home? Never mind, just look at this. I pulled out my phone and presented him with a video of him and his face drained of color as he watched.
This is not what it looks like, Karen. This is...
You're not seriously going to make excuses now, are you?
A
sweat trickled down his forehead. He seemed desperate to say something, yet no apology came forth. Having had enough, I coldly declared, Oh, just drop it. It's painfully clear that you're a jerk who can't even apologize in such a situation. Hey, how does it feel to lie, cheat, and then get caught? Surely you didn't think it won't happen to me, right?
Well, wait, Karen. I get it. I'll apologize.
Huh? Your apologies mean nothing to me now. In fact, they're worth less than nothing. Even if you apologize, I will never forgive you. I'll sue you for emotional distress, and that woman too. I hope you both rot in hell, you jerks. Fueled by anger, I drove Mike out of the house and locked the front door. He made a ruckus outside for a while, but when I continued to ignore him, he eventually left. Later, I got a call from my in-laws telling me that Mike had returned, saying he had nowhere to go. When I explained the situation to them, they were furious and had Mike write and mail the divorce papers for me. Thanks to that, my divorce was finalized without a hitch. The day after, I told my in-laws that the papers had been accepted. They kicked Mike out and apparently cut ties with him. I claimed emotional distress from Mike and the woman he cheated with through my lawyer, insisting on a lump sum payment. The other woman turned out to be Linda, a receptionist at the same company as him. Their affair was quickly made public within the company. Unable to bear it, Linda abruptly left the company. As for Mike, he's enduring the piercing gazes of his colleagues and somehow managing to get through his work. I later found out that his promotion was all a lie, just a tactic to hide his affair. I feel so foolish for being deceived by such a man, but at least I was able to make the decision to divorce. From now on, I intend to devote even more energy to my work and aim for higher positions. I'm determined to prove that marriage isn't the only path to happiness, and I'm ready to do it on my own terms.
Even though we were blessed with sons named Finn and Grant, they ended up favoring Camilla, my mother-in-law, who filled their heads with all sorts of nonsense, neglecting us, their parents. After kicking Camilla, Finn, and Grant out of the house, my husband Harrison suddenly passed away. When I broke the news to Finn over the phone, his response was unbelievable. Dads. We'll leave the funeral and stuff to Mom. Don't want to see the faces of those who kicked us out. Yeah. We're having fun here, so don't bother us. Tell the relatives we're missing it because of work or something. Send them our regards. I was taken aback. A week after the funeral, I received a letter addressed to me from Harrison. Opening it, I found these words. "Please read this where the kids can't find you." Reading on, my heart was filled. Camilla, who had wreaked havoc on our family. And Finn and Grant, who refused to attend their dad's funeral. This isn't over yet. I am Becky, a 54-year-old working mother, employed full-time. I met Harrison, who worked at a related company, at a welcome party for new employees. Despite not being a big drinker, I was persuaded to drink too much and ended up feeling sick. Huddled in a corner, looking for a moment to leave, Harrison noticed me, offered his help, and arranged a taxi for me. Later, I took a day off to thank him at his company, and he was astonished to see me. "Coming all the way here to say thanks, you're a sincere person." After that, our friendship evolved into a relationship, and eventually, we got married. Both of us, having grown up in complex environments and me having lost my parents as a child, had always longed for a warm family life. We believed we could find happiness with each other. However, once we started living together, we found ourselves in turmoil, stirred up by Harrison's sister, Camilla. Before the wedding, when we tried to greet Camilla, she didn't meet us, citing her busy schedule, so our wedding became our first encounter. Since Harrison's parents had already passed away, it was a simple ceremony with friends and relatives. However, Camilla managed to stand out in many wrong ways. She wore a pure white dress that emphasized her cleavage, an outrageous choice for a wedding. She wore too much perfume and makeup, like a stage actress. I tried not to show my disgust, but whether Camilla noticed it or it was her initial dislike, she did not greet me and scoffed. "Harrison, couldn't you find someone a bit more decent at your workplace? Having such a plain Jane as SIL is an embarrassment to the family." "Camilla! Well, she might suit you, Mr. Super Serious." Harrison looked like he was about to confront Camilla, but starting a sibling fight on the wedding day seemed like a bad idea. "I'm fine. Let's go back to preparing." With a forced smile, I urged Harrison, and we went to join the staff at the venue. Despite our initial terrible impression at first meeting, I didn't really dwell on it, thinking we wouldn't see much of each other anyway. But soon after, the situation took a drastic turn. Camilla, having ended her short marriage due to her husband's infidelity, somehow started staying with us. "My ex-husband left, and I want to move too. I sold my place when I got married, so I can't go back to my parents. Can I stay here for a while?" Harrison replied with a look of utter dismay to Camilla's request over the phone. "Huh? Why don't you rent a condo? You got a good chunk of alimony from your husband, didn't you? I just need a place to stay until I find a new home. I want to take my time choosing a nice place to live. I don't want to settle for an old, used house like you guys did. But, really, are you okay with a house that's 20 years old? I wouldn't want it even if it comes with a yard and a garage." "Will you shut up? It's earthquake-proof and renovated. Go rent a weekly apartment." "Just kidding. I like it. It's like an antique house. My condo lease ends this weekend, so I'll be moving in with you." Eventually, Camilla showed up with her belongings and made herself at home without permission. The main issue was that Camilla lacked any sense of gratitude for staying with us. Both Harrison and I were in considerable distress over her carefree behavior, as if it were her own house. Camilla would go out partying until dawn every night, waking up in the afternoon. She wouldn't help with household chores at all, spending her days lounging on the living room sofa, fiddling with her mobile phone, or watching TV until the evening. Then, after dinner, she would head out to town for fun. Whenever I took a day off and stayed home, I saw that this was her daily routine. After working full-time and coming home tired in the evening, Camilla would ask me impatiently. Hey, isn't dinner ready yet? When will it be? In about 30 minutes. That long? Hurry up, will you? She would also make snide remarks about my cleaning being poor or cutting corners. Cleaning is split between Harrison and me. He should be tired. As a wife, you should take care of all the household chores. Worried that complaining to Harrison would worsen their sibling relationship, I kept my frustrations to myself, but my increasingly gloomy demeanor must have given me away. When Harrison asked and I vented about Camilla's behavior, he was furious. Camilla, don't overstep your bounds as a freeloader. Oh, I'm just stating the obvious. Camilla replied nonchalantly. And you should at least contribute to the living expenses. I'm too shocked from my husband's affair to work. And you want to charge me money? You can afford it with the $50,000 in alimony. You have enough to buy clothes and go out drinking. I don't need my brother telling me how to spend my money. Both Harrison and I, listening to this exchange, were exasperated. It was clear that arguing was pointless. Our dream of a happy married life was marred by Camilla's interference, off to a miserable start. We wanted children but struggled to conceive because we were stressed about Camilla. Considering getting tests when, in our 4th year of marriage, I discovered I was pregnant. Harrison and I cried tears of joy. Seizing the opportunity, Harrison urged Camilla to move out. Camilla, we're going to need more space when the baby arrives. Maybe it's time for you to find your own place? Then Camilla turned to me. Becky, what about your job? I plan to return after a year of parental leave. I could look after the baby for you. No, we're planning on daycare. Don't you know? Everywhere around here is full. After inquiring at City Hall and gathering information from coworker moms, indeed, there was over a year's wait list for many childcare options. See, I told you so. Months later, proudly eyeing my growing belly, Camilla said. I'll take care of the baby until you find a daycare. I owe you for always taking care of me, so it's free. You'd struggle financially if Becky quit her job, right? After discussing it, Harrison and I reluctantly agreed to let Camilla help. I was incredibly anxious. But against all odds, Camilla doted on our newborn Finn. She diligently researched childcare online, took meticulous care of his needs, and even took him to the park, pouring her heart into caring for Finn. It was evident from Finn's attachment to her that Camilla was genuinely engaging with him. 2 years later, when our second son Grant was born, nothing changed. Both Harrison and I were swamped with work and couldn't spend much time with the kids during the weekdays, so we were grateful for any help. However, as the boys grew, they began to blatantly avoid us. Finn, Grant. How about going to the amusement park at the end of this month? No thanks. We'll go with Camilla. How about we go out for steak for Grant's birthday celebration? You mentioned wanting to go before, right? Camilla took us to a fancy steak restaurant recently. For Finn's birthday, we're going to a high-end restaurant. Can't wait. Hearing the boys talk excitedly, Harrison and I felt conflicted. Even after Finn and Grant started elementary school, we were grateful to Camilla for spending time with them on days we had to work weekends. But even on weekends when we were home, Finn and Grant stuck to Camilla. They hardly tried to talk to Harrison and me, preferring to play games or go out with her, acting as if they didn't need parents at all. And things got worse when Finn reached the 5th grade. Whenever Harrison or I tried to talk to him, he would grimace, ignore us, or click his tongue. Once, Finn started eating while playing a game on his mobile phone, and I scolded him. He glared at me and lashed out. "Shut up, old hag!" I couldn't believe my ears. It would be better if Camilla was mom. She always gives us pocket money and takes us places. Yeah, being born to you guys was a total bust. Shocked by their words, I tried to keep a calm tone. Camilla doesn't work despite being healthy, doesn't contribute financially here, and just spends her ex-husband's alimony. So what? That kind of life sounds dreamy, Finn said dreamily. Besides, Camilla raised us, right? It's weird to complain about that. Yeah, you guys didn't really want kids, did you? What? We know. You had us because Camilla told you to, reluctantly. That's not true. Harrison and I always wanted children. Camilla offered to help until we found a daycare. I denied it desperately. I can't believe you'd say that. Finn smirked at me, choking up. You guys are just annoying. Always nagging about homework or playing too many games. Yeah, Camilla gets it, saying it's okay not to do homework, and she even stays up till dawn playing games with us. Angered, I retorted. Camilla has no responsibility for your future. Dad and I say these things because we're worried about you, even if it means you hate us. Yeah, right. Just jealous because Camilla likes us more. Haha, ridiculous. Then you shouldn't have bothered having her look after us. As I was about to cry, I looked up to see Harrison at the doorway, fists trembling. What are you saying to whom, you guys? What, Dad, you're home? Working late again? As if working late matters with that meager salary. Spot on. The boys laughed, leaving Harrison at a loss for words. To think you'd mock your parents after finally talking to us. Harrison, keep it down. Camilla, coming down from her room upstairs, showed her face in the kitchen and shrugged in disdain. Getting worked up over children's words? How immature. It's because you spoil them that we're in this mess. Harrison exploded. I've had enough. Please leave now. After all I've done for my nephews, you complain? If you're staying, then pay your share. Camilla frowned in displeasure. Fine, I'll leave. Happy? What? Camilla's leaving? No way! Camilla surprisingly agreed easily, went to her room to pack her belongings into a suitcase, and came down to the entrance. I've packed my clothes in boxes. I've arranged for movers this weekend, so leave them until then. Camilla, are you really leaving? Yes. Take care. Smiling at Finn and Grant, who had come to see her off at the entrance, Camilla left the house. But even with Camilla gone, the rift between us and our sons hadn't healed. As they grew older, Finn, now a middle schooler, and Grant, in the 5th grade of elementary school, continued to defy us, exacerbated by their adolescence. A few years later, after graduating high school and getting a job, Finn quit within a month. 2 years after, Grant followed in Finn's footsteps, quitting his job after just a few days. Boasting about starting a business together, they dabbled in dubious dealings and squandered their earnings from short-term jobs in one night, leading to a huge argument after which Harrison kicked them out. Never come back until you've got a job. We'd ever come back to this place. And so, with Camilla and her influenced sons gone, it was just us again. I was concerned about how Finn and Grant were doing, but relieved not to be swayed by them anymore. At the end of that year, as I was about to leave work, I received a call from Harrison's colleague. Becky? Harrison collapsed at work. What? He's in the ICU getting treatment right now. Got it. I'll be right there. I managed to keep calm despite the panic, driving to the hospital. After introducing myself at the ICU reception and waiting in the hallway, the automatic door opened, revealing a man in a white coat, presumably a doctor, who looked at me and then averted his gaze. "We did everything we could. I'm sorry." I was speechless, standing frozen in shock. I had just seen Harrison off to work that morning as usual. "Keep next month's anniversary free." "Sure." "The usual restaurant?" "I've got a surprise planned." It's still the usual restaurant, though. I never imagined that would be our last trivial conversation. It felt like my vision was suddenly painted in shades of gray. As I wondered if there was any point in going on alone, I realized I had to inform everyone, calling Finn, Grant, and Camilla, leaving a voicemail message that Harrison has passed away. I got a call back from Finn that evening, with sounds of music and chatter in the background, likely at a restaurant. "Finn? Your dad's." Interrupted by my trembling voice, Finn said with a half-laugh, "Leave the funeral and stuff to Mom. Don't want to see the face of someone who kicked us out." "Yeah, we're having fun here, so don't bother us." "Oh dear. Harrison really wasn't liked, huh?" Camilla chuckled in the background. "Just say we're missing for work or something. Say hi to the relatives for us." Wait, just a. I was stunned, phone in hand. Were these really Harrison's brother and sons? Emptiness filled me, but I had to proceed with the funeral arrangements. After informing Harrison's relatives and contacting the funeral home we always used, we held a family funeral. The sudden departure didn't seem real, and I couldn't shed a tear during the funeral. But as our usual routine returned, the reality of losing Harrison hit me with every little reminder. While preparing meals, setting DVRs for dramas we watched together, making coffee, I'd inadvertently prepare for two or start talking to him, then realize he was gone and break down in tears. A week after Harrison passed away, while watering the flowers in the garden, the postal delivery van arrived. I took the mail inside, and among the junk mail, I found an envelope addressed to me, unmistakably in Harrison's handwriting. I opened the envelope eagerly, and it began with an explanation of how this letter came to be sent. "I've left this with an old friend to post if anything ever happened to me," followed by words of gratitude for our years together, and then a line that piqued my interest. "Please read this where the kids can't find you." Reading on, I was overwhelmed. Realizing Harrison knew I always worried about the kids, my eyes welled up with tears. I wiped away the tears, resolved. I had to honor Harrison's feelings. Camilla, who disrupted our family, and Finn and Grant, who refused to attend their dad's funeral. Just you wait. I won't let this end here. I immediately took action. Harrison's letter stated, "There's a safe deposit box at the bank containing items I've left. Use the enclosed key to retrieve them and decide what to do next. I trust Becky to handle it." Following the address in the letter, I went to the bank and entered the safe deposit box room next to the ATM. Nervously following the instructions, I inserted the card into the slot. After entering the PIN, a compartment opened, revealing the safe deposit box Harrison had rented. I unlocked the box to check the contents. Indeed, everything was as Harrison had described in his letter. I packed the items into my bag and left the bank. Later, I invited Camilla and Finn, Grant, to our house. I want to share Harrison's legacy with everyone who was important to him. With that reason, they came eagerly, without suspicion. I was appalled. Such selfish people, not caring about anyone but themselves. Skipping the funeral, but wanting the inheritance, how shameless. Camilla, unable to hide her impatience even as I made tea, blushed and started talking. That stingy man with his meager salary had an inheritance? Camilla, maybe he had hidden wealth because he was stingy. When you think about it, being stingy might not be so bad after all. Did he transfer Dad's inheritance to some account? Anyway, I can't wait. Camilla smiled at me. You know how to show respect. Informing your SIL like this. Well, I suppose. Mom, don't beat around the bush. Is Dad's inheritance jewelry? Maybe gold bars? As I looked over their restless faces, I smiled. Before we get to that, please listen to this. I placed an IC recorder and Harrison's mobile phone on the table, causing Finn, Grant, and Camilla to freeze. Dad's mobile phone and, what's this? An IC recorder, like the ones used for cheating investigations. I've seen it on TV. Wait, don't tell me Dad, with that face, was cheating? Finn started laughing crudely, but his laughter stopped abruptly when I pressed the play button on the mobile phone. What played was Finn's voice talking on the phone with a friend. Yeah. Remember that old hag, Camilla, you met at my place? Finn was speaking cheerfully. Her makeup's thick, and she's always clinging to me saying, Finn. It's gross, but flatter her and she gives you money. Gotta make use of fools and old hags, right? Camilla, sitting directly across from Finn, looked furious. After I stopped the playback, Camilla, filled with anger, demanded, Finn, what was that? Who knows? Not my problem. Must be someone else. Or maybe Dad recorded that himself. Finn's attempt to feign ignorance only incited Camilla's rage. Harrison couldn't have done that. He was terrible with technology. I just remembered I have plans. I'm heading home. As Camilla and Finn argued, Grant tried to sneak away, but I quickly unveiled the second recording. Finn, how much did you get from Camilla? $100,000. I got $50K. What's your secret? I gave her a bouquet of roses and a high-brand bag for her birthday. Maybe I should give her a fake brand. She won't know the difference anyway. Yeah, you're right. Finn and Grant laughed. She lives for the thrill of getting presents from men, even at her age. Almost 60 and still thinks she's young. Believes every flattery from young men at nightclubs and spends a fortune on them. She's being used. Idiot! Their derogatory talk was relentless. She dreams of marrying a Korean idol with a big age gap. Huh? No way, even as a joke. Their laughter was cut off when the recording ended. Grant managed a strained smile and muttered an excuse. When did Dad record this? And to expose us after he's gone. Such a personality. Yeah, pretending to be a good guy, he's the worst. Finn and Grant's insults towards Harrison infuriated me. As I was about to speak, Camilla shouted at them. You're mocking people. Who do you think raised you since you were kids? Don't mess with me. See, that's what's annoying. Always so patronizing. Do you ever listen to yourself and feel empty? Ridiculed by Finn and Grant, Camilla's face turned red. Now, it's your turn, Camilla. Having a favorite nightclub, how fancy. I picked up the IC recorder, and Camilla looked shocked. Without hesitation, I pressed play. First, lively music, the clinking of glasses, and conversations of men and women were heard. Then, Camilla's excited voice overlaid. That's right! I've been grooming my nephews since they were little, filling their heads with all sorts of nonsense about their parents. Kids are easy to manipulate. Wow, Camilla, you're smart. Praised by a young man, Camilla spoke proudly. I'm single, after all. I need someone to take care of me in my old age. Look, aren't they handsome? Really, they look like models or idols. The young man was impressed, and Camilla became more talkative. In the future, I'll have my nephews feed me, take me on amusement park dates, even change my diapers. Really? I refuse to be in a facility. If I have to depend on someone, it'll be someone handsome. Haha, I'm looking forward to it. I stopped the playback and looked at Camilla. As Finn and Grant stared sharply, Camilla turned away. Both of you have poor taste. To think you were secretly recording this. You've been living it up, heard from relatives. Curious how you've managed without a job for 20 years, living off your ex-husband's alimony, so I hired a detective to investigate. I explained. And this was recorded. Camilla, you're truly interesting. Not interesting at all. Creepy old hag. What do you think of us? As the boys made protective gestures, Camilla glared. Shut up. It's a fact I doted on you. I spent my precious time and money on you. What's wrong with expecting something in return? You spent money? Oh, you mean this? I spread a bank book on the table, and Finn and Grant's eyes lit up. Finally, the inheritance? Well, yes, but... I hinted, looking at Camilla, who was now sweating. Desperate to flee, she looked everywhere but at us. I spoke to Finn and Grant. Remember what I told you? Harrison had been estranged from his dad before we married. Yeah, we remember. Finn nodded. Our grandpa, Dad's dad, relied on his wealthy family, never worked seriously, squandered his inheritance, and racked up huge debts. Yes, that's right. Harrison's mom worked herself to death paying off debts, right, Camilla? Yes. I cut ties with Dad when I was 20, though I did attend his funeral. Camilla nodded. That's why Harrison secretly put the inheritance he received from a wealthy relative into an account, intending to keep it from the three of you. Huh? We never heard about any money. Tell us if there's money. He planned to start the inheritance process once you began working seriously. But someone used it without permission. Finn and Grant simultaneously turned to Camilla. You don't mean... Yes. Camilla stole Harrison's debit card while he was alive and withdrew money. Tentatively checking the account history, the two were shocked. $100,000 down to a balance of $5 in a year. What did you spend it on? Well, someone told me about a great investment opportunity. I thought I'd double it and then return it. I just borrowed it. Finn and Grant were furious at Camilla's squirming explanation. That's ridiculous. That was supposed to be our money. Huh, making a fuss over just $100,000. After all the trouble I went through raising you, you should be giving it to me for free. Camilla retorted defiantly, and Finn and Grant looked like they were about to explode with anger. There's more, isn't there, Camilla? I sighed and spread out Finn and Grant's account histories on the table. After you graduated high school and started working, I left your college funds untouched, intending to give them to you once you started working earnestly. But that too was squandered. Seeing their accounts nearly empty, Finn scratched his head in frustration, and Grant looked like he was about to cry. Old hag! What you're doing is a crime! Yeah, we'll sue you. Stupid. It's called interfamily theft, and it doesn't get prosecuted. Camilla crossed her arms and smirked smugly. Someday, I'll pay it back. Maybe in the next life. Oh, but it can be prosecuted. That's why I called the police earlier. My statement made Camilla's eyes widen. Huh? Indeed, Crimes committed by cohabiting relatives usually don't get prosecuted. That's why Harrison kicked you out, intending to file a report. Camilla, taken aback, asked in a daze. You're betraying your husband's sister? Well, yes, that's about right. Huh? Seriously? Unbelievable. After all I've done for you, how ungrateful. Who's the ungrateful one here? The room fell silent as I glared at Camilla. My anger palpable. Because of you, our family is in ruins. How are you going to fix this? Overreacting much. Camilla shrugged. I should have never trusted you and kicked you out sooner. Then Camilla turned to Finn and Grant, spreading a creepy smile across her face. I wanted to be a mom. Huh? Since I couldn't become a mom, I decided to take yours away from you. To vent my anger and resentment. Finn and Grant looked terrified. Are you okay in the head? Just stay away from me from now on. That's going to be difficult. I came here to borrow money from you. Camilla smirked. Family should help each other out in times of need, right? Yeah, Mom. Finn and Grant suddenly smiled, despite being furious moments ago. Actually, we're out of money. Our boss and seniors got mad just for taking a little time off, and when we complained, we got fired right away. Those guys are so arrogant. Finn and Grant complained, causing me a headache. Of course, you got fired. Why? Yeah, we got kicked out of our apartment. Finn revealed nonchalantly. We fell behind on rent. So, we'll stay here for a while. That's okay, right? And cover our debts, too. Once we're debt-free, we'll seriously start working. You can spare $20,000, right? Since you're working. The audacity of my son's request made my blood boil. Don't joke! I have no money to lend to sons who skip their dad's funeral. Even as I vehemently refused, they persisted. Please, Mom. Keep it up, and I'll have the police on you too. Never set foot in our home again. Just then, a police car pulled up in front of the house. Camilla, attempting to flee, was met by the officers at the door and was taken away without resistance. Are we going to get arrested too? Let's just run for it. Glancing at me, Finn and Grant gave up on begging for money and left. Learning that the money Camilla had given them came from Harrison and their own accounts. It seemed Finn and Grant finally had enough of Camilla. I don't want to end up like that, they apparently decided, showing interest in working seriously. However, their lazy habits didn't disappear overnight, and they kept calling me alternately. I'm being hassled for payment at the nightclub, Mom. Can you lend me some money? I lost $50,000 gambling. Can you lend it to me? I got so fed up that I blocked my son's numbers. They then turned to relatives for money but were scorned for missing their dad's funeral and were cut off by them too. After borrowing from dubious sources and being chased by debt collectors, Finn and Grant finally started working earnestly. However, due to their past payment issues, they were banned from the nightclub and unwelcome at the bar they used to frequent. Life's lost all its fun, they complained. Camilla, being a first-time offender, was fined and released quickly. However, the incident led to her being dumped by her boyfriend. Moreover, repaying me in full for the embezzled funds from Harrison and my son's accounts left her with a huge debt. Camilla is now working from early morning until late at night. Unknown to Camilla and my sons, Harrison had left another item in the safe deposit box. A large pink diamond necklace. The letter said it was a time-honored item inherited from Mom. A family heirloom from his mother, intended for our 30th wedding anniversary next year. Concerned it might be found and sold by Camilla or the boys, he had stored it in the bank. Shocked to find it was valued at $120,000. I've kept it as a cherished gift from Harrison, never intending to sell it. Despite hoping for a warm family life, my relationship with my sons was strained, and my husband has passed away. Yet, Harrison's presence remains in my heart. I'll continue to live strongly, cherishing the memories of Harrison.